I have one at 750.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the MLB Free Agent Predictions. Special guests on here. I've got Hector from the Knights of deGrom and the Yankees Morning Brew. I've got Derek from NYY Recaps, and I've got Tim from Ballcap Sports. So special shout out and a warm welcome to all the deGrom members, all the family members of the NYY Recaps, and all the members of Ballcap Nation. We're all thankful we got you all here watching with us. And we're going to do some MLB Free Agent Predictions. We're going to have some fun. Welcome, boys. Thanks for coming on.
Nah, appreciate the invite, brother.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, man. How about we do some predictions, guys? We'll have a little fun too. We'll get some see what type of comments we get in here too. We get some fun stuff as well. So
is that what we were doing? I thought we were doing a Red Sox appreciation video. Okay, I'm ready. I can do whatever you need.
Already starting. not even 60 seconds in, and Ballcap with the fire.
Let's go. Let's go.
Would that be the last place Red Sox? Just checking.
Yeah, the last place Red Sox for sure.
All right, what's up, gang? Tyler Talbot's in the house. Alex, we'll get to you guys, but if you have any recommendations on predictions, put them in the comments, and we'll get to you as often as we possibly can. But let's get this started, boys. Let's start with Rafael Montero, the power setup man for the Houston Astros. The dude had a sub-3 ERA. He was power this year. He was money. One of the things the Astros did really well was set up their bullpen order. And this guy was just money in the eighth inning every single game, especially in the postseason. Hector, where you got him going?
For me, when it comes to Rafael Montero, I think it'll be a good gamble if the Yankees want to take a gamble with him. You know, we got Chapman's money coming off the book, Britton's money coming off the book. So if that's the way that we can go, why not entertain that? But honestly, Ballcap brought up the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are going to go hard this offseason. I can see the Red Sox trying to get Montero to be the anchor of their bullpen because they definitely need it.
What about you, Derek? What do you got?
I think he's going to the Mets. Steve Cohen is going to be spending like crazy again this year, and I think he's going to go after at least 3 or 4 of the top guys in every area. Last year, he tried to shore up the position players. He shored up the rotation. I think he's going to basically take the same approach, take steps forward in every area. And Montero, to me, is probably one of the best relievers out there.
Uncle Steve. Pivot over to you, Paul. What do you got?
All solid takes, and that's the beauty about Montero, and it won't be for everybody that we talk about. The market is 25 out of 30 teams, basically. It's almost everybody. So it's who's willing to spend, who is maybe most desperate, and that's certainly a situation with the Red Sox. The Mets, after Diaz right now, it looks ugly. So it's kind of those two are great picks. I'm going to pick a Mariners reunion. I think that the Mariners are going to look at a spot where, outside of maybe bringing Mitch Haniger back and maybe one move to add depth to the rotation, I think the focus for Seattle will be on just taking that bullpen to another level. So when they're going head-to-head against Houston, or if they match up against Houston in the postseason, Montero's not with Houston and Montero's with Seattle, and they can go back and forth, one inning, shutdown inning after the next, both sides. So I'll go Mariners for Montero.
Wow. I'm going to pivot back to the American League East. And since he was pretty dominant against the Yankees, I think a team from the American League East is probably going to want to bring him on board, who needs a starter and a reliever. And I've got him going up north to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, there we go.
So that's who I got. That's going to suck if it happens for Yankee fans, but we'll see.
Yeah.
How about Wilson Contreras? How about him?
For me, Wilson Contreras, he's going to Houston. That was a move that Houston, they were at the trade deadline. Everybody had them making that deal for Wilson Contreras. Now, when it comes down to it, they don't have to give up any prospects, just some money and probably, one of those compensatory picks. So I can see, Wilson Contreras signing with the Houston Astros this offseason.
Might be a good one. That will be a good one. What do you got there?
I think he's going to the Padres. They currently have Austin Nola and Jorge Alfaro. I don't think that either one of those guys, is much of an offensive threat. And we've seen that the San Diego GM and the San Diego owner are both very aggressive. And I think that, going after a big name like Wilson Contreras, adding him to, the Sotos and the Machados and stuff, that gives them just that much better of a lineup. And look, they've got to do something to catch the Dodgers. Dodgers won, I think, 111 games this year. Padres, I think, won 89 or so. So, that's going to be a tough climb. So they got to get better, and getting better up the middle is a good way to do it.
Oh, that's a good one too. Take it over to you, Paul.
Yeah. I like those picks. I do. I've got 3 that I've sort of narrowed it down to. The Cubs, because of the qualifying offer situation, I think could make it hairy for some of the teams. The Yankees and the Astros. Those are my 3 that I have as sort of the finalists. And in my top 10 prediction video, I went Yankees for Contreras, because when I look at the top 10 free agents, obviously there's Judge out there. The Rizzo situation will be interesting if there's a qualifying offer attached. So, and I know the Yankees are in that sort of ultra penalty situation if they go and they sign a qualifying offer player. They give up 2 picks. So if you're going to go outside of the organization to somebody who's got a qualifying offer, one of the top free agents, you're basically looking at would we trade 2 draft picks for this player? And I've got Contreras in my top 10. So I think that the Yankees would and could. And if you're looking to upgrade the offense, I know you have Trevino back there, and he's your Gold Glove catcher, one of the best, if not the best framers in the league. Mm-hmm. So, but we live in a 2-catcher era, and you can have Contreras DH. You can move some things around. It might exclude them from getting an outfielder if you go with the DH route. And I know a lefty bat is important too. But give me the Yankees to just do it, because they need to win this offseason, and I think that would be one way to do it.
Oh, man. So the Yankees would be a tough one. Yeah, I mean, I guess platooning him with Trevino.
I didn't even consider him to the Yankees.
Neither did I.
I think. Yeah. See, the element is designated hitter. Stan. You guys are close to the Yankees. Stan's not the worst outfielder. You can live with Stanton in the outfield. Do you ultimately want that? Maybe not. But if you had Stanton, if you had Contreras, because let's say Rizzo, part of it I think depends on dominoes, right? How do the dominoes fall? And if you have a situation where Contreras is one of the best ones remaining free agents still out there, which again, I think that qualifying offer, unless he goes right back to the Cubs, the qualifying offer is going to make the situation sticky for a lot of teams and for him. So I feel like the Yankees wanting to upgrade the offense with some other pieces maybe off the board at the time when Contreras goes, it just that sort of points me in that direction. We'll see.
Man, I didn't think about that. Now I'm going to keep him in the NL Central. I might have to throw a couple of tattoos on him because the guy's going to be replacing a team that's got several guys retiring. But I'm taking him to the St. Louis Cardinals. He's a perfect fit to replace Yadi Molina. And I think, a team that's going to continue to want to contend. I mean, Arenado's back. And, I think he'd fit in seamlessly there. And keep him even in NL Central, I think, would be a good way to also go after the rest of the teams there, too. So, St. Louis for me, man.
Good pick.
I like it.
Pick, yeah.
How about J-Mo? J-Mo's up next. Hector, what do you got?
When it comes to J-Mo, I appreciate what J-Mo did for us. He wasn't, a superstar ace. He didn't blossom into an all-star with us. But what he did for us, I appreciate it for him. When you look at his stats this season, he made every start, basically a qualifying start every time he went out there. But honestly, I think he needs to go to the NL West. San Francisco, get him into a ballpark that's big, either San Francisco or San Diego, but I can see San Francisco because San Francisco has some money to spend this offseason. I do not want the Yankees to attach a qualifying offer to him because I think he's going to take it. 19 million for 1 year. He'll definitely take that. I know I would.
You'd be stuck with him. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Q was $19 million. Shit, just 19.6, man. Whew. What do you got him, Derek? Where you got him going?
I think J-Mo's going to go to the Texas Rangers. So they're another team that was active last year in free agency. He's from Texas. Texas won just 68 games this year, and a big part of that was their pitching. They allowed 743 runs and only scored 707. So they need to get better on both sides of the ball. And the rotation ERAs, if you look at them, are not that great. They got a couple of guys in the mid to high fours. They really only have 4 starting pitchers that made 20-plus starts. I think he would fill in nicely. He probably becomes their number 2 right away.
Behind John Gray?
Yeah, either behind Gray or behind Martin Perez. He might slide in number 3, but he's definitely in the top 3 of that rotation.
Nice. What do you got, Jim?
Jameson Taillon is going to be so fun to watch, especially if he hangs out there. If I'm him, I wait until some of those big names are off the board, because after Verlander goes, after Rodon goes, after deGrom after all of the big names are off the board, he quickly becomes the best pitcher available, which could completely shift everything that we're saying, right? Teams that you wouldn't think about him all of a sudden do make sense for him. I really like the Rangers pick, and I'm going to go with that. And this is why I'm going to agree with Rangers, because they need to bring Martin Perez back. They have to figure that out. And if they do or not, we'll see. But you've got a situation where I think Texas tries to go out there and basically do with pitching this season what they did with the offense and make 2 big splashes. And if you go get one of the other pitchers we're going to talk about, which I'm going to have the Rangers going for, and then again, a couple other names have fallen off, and Taillon's the best one left, it looks like you make a couple of big splashes. So I'm going to go Rangers as well.
I like that. And they're only like 5 or 6 guys away from being really, really good.
Yep.
And, speaking AL West, I'm sending them to the AL West too, but to a team that's only about 15 guys away from being good is the Angels. Mm-hmm. Okay. They need pitching, and they need a ton of it. Okay. I don't think Thor's coming back. I think Syndergaard's going to exit to Philly anyway. But I don't think, aside from him, I don't even know who their number 1 is. It Dylan Bundy? I have no idea. Is he right?
The Angels, well, after Ohtani, it's a bunch of after Ohtanis, right? Is it Sandoval? It's a bunch of. They've got the rookie, not Lodolo's with Detmers. It's Ohtani and then Sandoval. I think probably would be the next guy up.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got the Angels, so I can see him.
Angels need a new owner for sure.
They need to know everything.
He's trying to sell, right? He's trying to sell, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's stick to the West Coast. Let's go to Clayton Kershaw. What do you got, Hector?
There's no reality or alternate universe out there in this vast galaxy we live in that I can see Clayton Kershaw in any other jersey beside a Dodgers jersey. So I see him going back with the Dodgers. There's nowhere I can see him going someplace else. He's one of the last breeds out there, a baseball player that started with the same team and going to retire with the same team. He's last of the OGs that are out there.
Yeah. What about you, Derek?
I 100% agree. There's no reason for him to leave LA. He's made his money. He's won a World Series. He's a legend there. Why uproot your family? Why put the dog in a crate to move him across the country? He's going to stay in LA.
Ballcap?
In this universe, Clayton Kershaw is a Dodger. In one of the other multiverses where green means stop and red means go, he can be a Ranger, but in this universe, he's a Dodger.
Yeah. Dude, I had him going to the Texas Rangers last year, but I have him staying. He's their modern day Sandy Koufax, right? You can't let this guy go. You got to let him retire and go to the Hall of Fame as a Dodger uniform. You can't be like 12 years Dodgers, 1 year the Rockies or something like that. It just wouldn't look right. It wouldn't feel right. So he's a Dodger for me too. So now let's move over to Andrew Benintendi, Yankees free agent. Heck,
I want Benintendi back with the Yankees. Regardless if we sign Judge or Judge leaves, Benintendi has to be with the Yankees next year. I just want him with us. Left-handed bat at Yankee Stadium. He patrols left field pretty well. He had, Gold Glove caliber. He won a Gold Glove in his career. We still haven't seen what Andrew Benintendi can do as a Yankee in the postseason because he was injured this postseason. So I want the Yankees to go for a round 2 with Andrew Benintendi.
What about you, Recaps?
I want him back, but I think he's going to the Mets. Again, Steve Cohen, Mark Canha signed with the Mets. He did not have a good year. I think he hit 260 something, about 13 home runs. Doesn't really play a great left field compared to Benintendi. I could see him, switching colors there and going to the Mets.
You just gave me some heartburn, man. What about you, Paul?
A player where the market is huge, right? You can see 10 or 15 different scenarios playing out. And the reason is he's not going to break the bank. He's still relatively young. and he's really good. The version of Andrew Benintendi that we all saw last year, strikeout rate down, walk rate up, not swinging and missing like he had been early on in his career, is something that teams that are at the championship level need to get over the hump, and teams that are trying to get to that championship level want to build around. So his market is going to be huge. The Padres, the Mets. If Nimmo leaves, I only think Mets if Nimmo leaves. If Nimmo's back, then I think Benny does not end up with the Mets. I can see the Mariners if Haniger leaves, the Yankees if Judge leaves, Cleveland, Boston, Baltimore. It's everywhere. But if I have to to actually make a pick right now with no caveats attached to it, the most direct route for him to me would be San Diego. That's where I will go, just because there is no if this player leaves or if this happens. San Diego has a need, right? There's a ton of players that they just traded for that are now leaving. So I'll go San Diego with this one.
And most of their contact hitters are in the infield. So
right.
Not necessarily. And Will Myers is gone too. He's a free agent too.
Yep.
That's my pick too, San Diego. It's a natural fit there. And this is one of their areas where they're going to flex some financial might and just bring in a guy like this who will fit seamlessly. But I want him back on the Yankees, but I think he'll go to the West Coast to the Padres.
You need him in New York. The Yankees need to do what they can. Benintendi's also not going to have a qualifying offer, so that's only going to add to the team. So that you've got all these teams that have that got to give up 2 picks or got to give up 1 pick or got to give up $1 million of international draft money, all of that stuff. He's not going to have anything like that attached to it. But the Yankees, to beat the Astros, because that's everything the Yankees do this offseason needs to be with the Astros in mind. Because if you can beat Houston, you can beat anybody else. So Benintendi's a guy that would have been perfect. And it sucks that he wasn't there for the Yankees in the series against Houston, because him and DJ, those are the kind of guys you need. Low swing and miss rates, drag out at bats, everything. Yankees really got to try hard to get Benny back. Even if Judge comes back, they still got to try to get him back.
100%. 100%. Yeah. How about Xander Bogarts? This one's an interesting one for me.
This was interesting to me because I was trying to figure it out if he's coming back to the Red Sox or not. But I was like, let me see if I could try to find him as a home someplace else. Detroit is interesting. I know they have Javi Baez at shortstop, but Xander Bogarts could easily slide over to second base. Or the Angels, because the Angels, that owner, he just spends money. He's trying to make anything look pretty before the new ownership come in. So I can see Xander Bogarts being a target that the Angels get, especially when Shohei Ohtani's upset. Mike Trout, you don't want him to get upset as well. They need to put a winner out there in LA, even if it's just to have the superstars happy and not upset.
How about you, Derek?
Bogarts is going to the Minnesota Twins. So Correa is going to leave, obviously. So they're going to need to replace the shortstop position. They were a 78-win team last year, so they need to get better. They're going in the wrong direction. I think you pair him up with Gio Urshela on the left side of the infield. That's pretty good infield over there. They're going to have more work to do, but I think he's going to end up in Minnesota.
Good one. How about you, Ballcap?
I love the Twins pick. I'm not gonna go there because I have a different one that I've already committed myself to. But I love that Twins idea, especially because the Twins received revenue sharing, so that means they pay the smallest penalty for any qualifying offer. So if the Red Sox attach qualifying offer, which they have to, the Twins are one of the teams that pay the least amount. And to everything you said about what they're trying to do, it's perfect. I will go White Sox. I'm going to go White Sox. I think they moved Tim Anderson to second base, and Bogarts is a pickup for the White Sox.
It's a nice fit.
Yeah.
I am going to the World Series loser Phillies. They need a shortstop. They have Stock, rookie, but they want an upgrade in that position. And Dave Dombrowski's not afraid to spend. And I think the fact that they got to the World Series and didn't win it, he's going to want to make a couple of moves this offseason. And Xander Bogarts, I think, is going to be the guy that he brings in, or one of the guys that he brings in. So
and in front of Bryce Harper.
That'd be amazing. They just declined Segura, right? So that opens up a need. They can move Stott to second base, and there's shortstop for you.
Yep, it's all done. Speaking of shortstops,
that's a good pick. I like that.
Carlos Correa. Who's that? What do you got?
For Carlos Correa, last offseason, there was flirtation with Carlos Correa and the Mets because he said he was open to moving to third base to play with Lindor and to play with Javi Baez. I'm saying they're going to make that phone call this offseason and convince Correa to play third base next to his friend Francisco Lindor. The Mets, they're trying to make a splash. Steve Cohen, especially, is trying to make a splash, especially after losing in the wild card round. So I can see Carlos Correa going over to Queens.
What about you, Derek?
Angels. I think Correa is going out west. You put him in there with Ohtani and Trout. Something to kind of build around as the new ownership gets ready to take over. You could make the case that they won't sign anybody big because of the transition of ownership, but they need a shortstop. It's LA. Why not?
Ballcap.
I think it's not guilt by association. This is the right way to put it, but it's kind of the connection. The New York and LA markets, to me, are completely out for Carlos Correa. I don't see it happening. I think we heard that from John Heyman that the Dodgers were keeping tabs on Carlos Correa. But very interestingly, Scott Boras is Carlos Correa's agent. We all know that. John Heyman has a relationship with Scott Boras, and if John Heyman wants to keep his relationship with Scott Boras, he's gonna put things out there that Scott Boras tells him. So I think anything we hear about as far as specifically the Dodgers will just be trying to get LA into the conversation so you can get the price up, because last year it didn't work. He was not getting the years. He was not getting the dollars from he was getting offers from the Tigers. He was getting offers from Houston, which he didn't like. And he ended up taking the short-term thing with Minnesota. I think a lot of that's going to run its way back. Maybe the Mets could work, but I just think there's too much disdain for him in New York, period, whether you're a Yankee fan or Mets fan. So if you're the front office and you're looking at decisions and you're looking at money that you're spending with all the other options that are out there, I think that Correa would be the last option you would go to. So everybody else has to be off the board. And at that point, the Mets may have already spent their money. I'm going to go with Chicago. I think you keep him in the Midwest, basically, right? He went to Minnesota. You move him to Chicago, whether it's the Cubs or the White Sox. I like him in the Midwest. I'm going to have the Cubs because I already did the White Sox and Bogarts. I'm going to go Cubs. I think they move some pieces around with that infield. Maybe Horner plays third. Maybe they move Correa to third and they leave Horner at short. They got Madrigal at second, third base, Wisdom. They can put him maybe at first or DH, whatever they need to do. But I think the Cubs go for Correa, and that's there. We're coming. We're back. Our window was opening. We got Stroman and Suzuki last year. We're going to get Correa and something else this year, and Rizzo back. I don't know. We're back. That'll be so I'll go Cubs.
I agree with you. He's going to get on a plane to the private jet and fly right to LA. And then he's going to take a connecting flight to San Francisco and go play.
I like it. I like it. Because you got to do that.
They got money to spend, and they're going to want to bring in somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think to head that lineup. And again, somebody hitting some more balls in the McCovey Cove, hitting the balls all over the place. They haven't had anybody somebody like that since Barry Bonds, to be honest with you. So you stud like that in that lineup, I think it's going to go a long way. And they've got, $100+ million off the books. So, he's only going to take about a third of it. So I've got to go to the Giants, baby.
Like that.
Shortstop, Dansby Swanson.
Dansby Swanson, you brought up the Philadelphia Phillies a little while ago talking. I say the Phillies are going to pull another Zach Wheeler and still from another NL East team. And I can see Dansby Swanson in Philadelphia. I know they have Scott, the rookie, at shortstop, but like you said, they're trying to upgrade to try to get a more solid piece, more, situated piece. I would say Dansby Swanson is that guy. He emerged not just as a good baseball player last year, but as a leader as well for the Atlanta Braves. He's a good contact hitter, good glove guy. So I could see, Philadelphia upgrading their defense, and Dansby Swanson would be a perfect pick for them.
It's a good one. What do you got there?
You took the words out of my mouth. I also have him going to Philadelphia for all the reasons that Hector said. You don't get to the World Series and losing 6 games and then not try and upgrade. And I just think that he instantly would make them, a lot better. Give them a little bit more offense, upgrade the defense. They had to release Didi this year. They've had all sorts of issues at shortstop. Just solidify the position, and you're instantly better.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jim? What do you got?
I've got it between the Giants and the Braves, and I'm going to go for the Giants for the reasons you just outlined, Jason. I think if he was going to stay in Atlanta long-term, that would have already been worked out. Just the way that they do things there. I know he's from the area, so it's not going to be an easy move, but I think that he ends up I think he ends up heading out to the Giants. I think there's a fit there. Again, all those reasons you outlined for Correa.
And I don't think they can go wrong with any of these shortstops, to be honest with you, the Giants. I have them going out west, but I've got them playing for the Angels. They've got, what's his name, Rodon Shoemaker, who's their number 5 prospect. He was projected to take over. But if you can get somebody like Dansby Swanson in there, again, you put him in there with Ohtani and Trout and Rendon when he's healthy, that adds a whole other dynamic to the lineup. You have an elite defensive infield. And, again, they need guys like this. That's why I'm giving him a pitcher and at least a hitter this offseason. So he's going to the Angels for me. Now let's go to the creme brulee of the shortstop guys here. Trey Turner.
Some rumors came out earlier, how the Mets are, connected to Trey Turner. So if Carlos Correa doesn't work out like I called earlier, I could see Trey Turner going to the Mets. I'm just so scared of Steve Coleman and his wallet. He has literally 4 or 5 times more money than the next owner that's right after him in Major League Baseball. So I could see Trey Turner going to the Mets this offseason.
Oof.
I think he's going to the Dodgers. I think he's staying with the Dodgers. Look, if he stays with the Dodgers on, let's say, a 7-year deal, maybe 8 or 9 years, he's probably going to play in 3 more World Series as the shortstop. I mean, where else could he sign where he's going to be on that good of a team? And that's a major consideration. I know that he's an East Coast guy, but he's used to LA. He's been on LA time for a couple of years. I don't think he's coming back.
Good one. You got Jim.
I agree with the Dodgers pick. I think that now listen, I so badly want to say Phillies here, but I just think it's going to end up being LA because when I look at the top 10 free agents, I know we talked about Kershaw in this video, but I don't have Kershaw in the top 10. When I look at the top 10 free agents, I don't mean to spoil any of my future picks, but I don't have the Dodgers. If I give the Turner to the Phillies, I don't have the Dodgers getting any of them. And I don't think we live in a universe where that's going to happen, where the Dodgers don't get anybody in the top 10. So trying to find the player that has the cleanest path to LA, it's Trey Turner. Just to re-sign, go back. Again, I think things are going to play out with some of these other free agents where they don't get them, or maybe soon, early in the process, they feel like they won't have a shot at them. So they'll go back to Trey again. The word is that he wants to go back east and all of that. But listen, if he's going to get more money from the Dodgers and he knows he's got a chance to compete for the World Series every year with LA, why wouldn't you leave? So, yeah, I'll go back to the Dodgers for Trey Turner.
My sentiments exactly. One way or another, the Dodgers are going to get one of these shortstops. Okay? Yeah. It's just going to happen. Why not go with the guy that's been really great for you? Mm-hmm. Trey Turner, I got him staying in LA too. He'll get a big deal, whatever it is. He'll probably get close to the $300 million mark. He'll be this year's Corey Seager probably and make that type of money. Again, it's a perfect fit there. If they keep Kershaw, they keep Turner, and they add to that somehow, they're going to be fine. They're going to be just fine.
I also want to throw one thing out about the Trey Turner thing, and I don't know what you guys thought about this, but did you see? I think Jeff Passan retweeted it. The sizzle reel that CAA put out there for Trey Turner.
John Hamm narrated.
Jesus.
John Hamm, outside of John Hamm being a part of it, and John Hamm sounded like he was in an elevator when he was narrating it, by the way. I don't know what the audio was.
I got the same feeling, man. It's like he recorded it on his iPhone.
Exactly. I got the feeling that
was a Nokia.
That a YouTuber could have created a better video than what CAA did. So that almost tells me that CAA is just, they wanted to make it look like they're really pushing the Trey Turner thing hard just to nudge the Dodgers to be like, hey, listen, he's not an automatic to come back. Look, we made this thing narrated by John Hamm, and we sent it out to everybody else. So you better get on it, Dodgers. Kind of felt like that might have been the ultimate goal of that.
The John Hamm thing, it almost felt like John Hamm was walking by the video guy's office while he was oh shit, I need somebody to record. John Hamm.
Come here, buddy.
Hang on, I got this USB mic from 1994. Let me plug it in.
Yeah.
And then they had John Hamm. Or my buddy sounds just like John Hamm. Let's have him come. Like that's what it felt like to me.
CAA, the leadership in CAA is connected to the Knicks, so that should go to tell you what's going on right there.
No, yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic, man. You just remind me of the next telephone, which is like the worst phone ever. But let's pivot over to pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos Rodon.
For me, Carlos Rondon, this is just like the scenario with Wilson Contreras, right? The Astros tried to make the trade for Contreras, it didn't work out, and the St. Louis Cardinals, they tried to make a move on for Carlos Rondon, and that didn't work out. So, they waited to the offseason. They have the money to spend. They had a payroll that's projected at $147 million for next season. So I could see Carlos Rondon going to St. Louis.
I think Rodon's going to the Mets. Again, this is the type of player that Cohen is going to outbid guys for. He can pay as much for that somebody else would pay for a number 2 or a number 1 to be your number 3. He can afford that. That's the luxury he has. And, Rodon is one of those guys, 2.88 ERA this year, I believe. It was even lower the year before that. He's got incredible stuff. Good cutter. The metrics love him. He's bulldog mentality. I think he would fit in New York. I would love for him to come to the Yankees, but I just see the Mets bidding a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Jim?
I like the Cardinals idea. The Cardinals were one of my finalists in my top 10 video, but ultimately I feel like the Cardinals will look at their rotation and feel like there are enough reasons not to get into a bidding war for Carlos Rodon, with Flaherty being back for a full year, hoping for a J. Happ bounce back, having just traded for Jordan Montgomery, throw him in with Michaelis. They were stretching out Hicks. They've got all these pieces, so I can see them figuring, do we want to spend 25 to 30 million on Rodon for 4 or 5 years? Maybe we don't. But the Cardinals are a great idea, great fit. Again, I had him as one of my finalists. So I want to throw that as a good idea. That's a good pick there. And the Mets too. But the only thing about the Mets is I feel like I would stay away from the Mets just personally, because until deGrom is figured out. Once deGrom is figured out, if deGrom is gone, deGrom goes to Atlanta, or deGrom goes to LA, or deGrom goes wherever, then I will go all in on Rodon to the Mets. I think that if Rodon's still there, that's where they turn their focus on. I'm going to say Rangers. I'm going to say Rangers because we know they're going to be aggressive. We know that it's going to be no stone unturned. You pair Rodon with Tyone, and if you can bring back Martin Perez, great. And then that rotation again starts to look like a rotation that can support the lineup that they're trying to build.
Oof.
Like that.
Yeah, and you got the Mets getting a lot of guys there, and that breaks. And I think the Yankees are keeping this thing in mind, which is why I have them coming to the Yankees. They're going to SSN, and that's not Social Security number. That shows some nuts. It's the one opportunity. Yankees are actually going to do something and bring in this guy. They're going to have to. What's it going to cost? $130 million to get this guy? Probably, maybe 25, 26 million per. I think for 5.
Yeah, sure. That the Yankees could easily do that, but then Cohen could very easily just say, "All right, 145, 150." Like
right.
He's so he can just keep. That's what I mean with the Yankees. Won't do that. They simply will not outbid the Mets, and Cohen can just keep one-upping guys, and they need a number 3.
Do you think he would go that high and then still try to bring deGrom?
I think he'd go 170. I think he'll bring deGrom back at 45. I really think that he's going to go berserk. I think he's going to have a $330 million payroll next year, and he's not going to blink at it.
All right.
Somebody remind me. Were the Mets freaking out and uncomfortable last year with qualifying offer guys? I can't remember if they were or not, because this is going to be Rodon will be a qualifying offer guy from San Francisco, because the White Sox did not offer him the QO last year. So he's never had that attached to him. So the Giants certainly will. And the Mets have to give up 2 picks because they were in that super offender list. There's like 5 teams. So they have to give up 2 picks, and they have to give up $1 million in the international signing period. I just wonder if the Mets, I just can't remember for life of me, if the Mets were showing any concern last year with any of the qualifying offer guys. I don't know if any of you remember that.
I don't recall.
Don't recall.
One reason I think the Yankees have $112 million coming off the books. I wouldn't even get them near super offender territory. So I think one guy they have to overspend for him. They have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Need him in the rotation.
But just like Derek said, Steve Cohen, he has that money. The Mets, their minor league system, it's not like they're building such a great minor league system right now. So if they lose a couple picks for the next couple of years, I don't think Steve Cohen would care as long as he gets the guy that he wants to get.
Yeah, and his farm isn't that robust now, so he doesn't.
The Yankees are going to overspend in one area, I think, and that's going to be Aaron Judge. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I just think that if they're going to overspend, they're going to go, over what they're comfortable with. It's going to be for Aaron Judge.
All right. That's fair. Well, we're down to 5, guys. 5 left. So, Verlander. What do we got?
For me, for Verlander, I'm gonna crack this nice Adijan beer open real quick. Shameless plug before I say where Verlander's going. But Verlander, to me, if you can't beat him, join him. Bring him to the Bronx. Spend that money after you sign Judge. Bring Justin Verlander to the Bronx. I think Verlander could convince his wife that $80 million for 2 seasons is enough to deal with A-Rod being at Yankee Stadium for a few ESPN games. So I could see him coming to the Bronx.
Not you, Derek.
Verlander's going to stay in Houston. He won a World Series, and he is, at the top of his game at 40 plus. I don't think he wants to try something new. I think he wants to try and repeat. And I could see them anting up to bring him back. He's beloved there. He obviously broke through the World Series, I guess, struggles and pitched well this year. So I'd imagine he's going to go back to Houston.
What about you, Ballcap?
Real quick, just to circle back on the Mets and the qualifying offer thing, they did not sign anybody last year that had a qualifying offer attached to them, the qualifying offer compensation penalty attached to them. They did sign Mark Canha, who was one of the players who was sort of notable for not receiving the QO, but just more food for thought on what the Mets may end up doing. I'm going to go Houston. I think Verlander goes back to the Astros. I think that is at his point in his career. I think he could probably maybe get a 2-year guaranteed deal with maybe a 3rd year for mutual option if he wants to try to pitch into his mid-40s. That'd be the way to go. And he's looking for, at his age, not a maybe, I'll be back fighting for the World Series in the ALCS, trying to get back to the pinnacle. He wants the clearest, easiest path back, and it's with Houston. Now, the Yankees really should be all in trying to get him, because if you can take him away from Houston, that helps you. Again, everything the Yankees do this offseason needs to be geared towards beating the Astros. One way they could do that would be by getting Verlander, but ultimately I do have him back with the Astros.
I have a feeling he'd probably have to give him that Scherzer 3 or $140 million.
Yeah, you might.
That the Yankees would and the Astros would not. But I'm going back to Houston too. Familiarity. And Pena and Alvarez and Tucker, they're just going to keep getting better. That team is going to be good for a while. Surrounded by a good nucleus. I don't know where else he could go that will put him in an immediate World Series contention. Honestly, I mean, Yankees have so many holes to fill. As much as I would love for him to be there, you can't throw pitching at a hitting problem, and vice versa. So it's just they could try to offset, but I don't think that's enough anyway. So I think Houston's the perfect place. So, how about Anthony Rizzo, guys?
Rizzo, I have him coming back to the Bronx. Whether it's on a 2-year deal, he made $16 million last year. So if the Yankees even offered him just a QA, the qualifying offer at $19 million, that's still a $3 million, pay raise for 1 season. So I see Anthony Rizzo coming back to the Bronx. I think we need him. He's a leader. I think he's very important to that clubhouse. He sets the tone. He's a veteran, World Series winner already with the Cubs. Anthony Rizzo, we need a calzone back in the Bronx.
Yeah, I think Rizzo's coming back also. Look, he was something that they have lacked recently, which is left-handed power, and you can't afford to let that go. Don't have a lot at the first base position other than DJ LeMahieu, and I'm not confident that he can play a full season anymore. The last 2 years, he's broken down. So to me, it's essential to bring back Rizzo. Don't need to play him every single day. Let him play 140 games instead of 160 games. Keep that back healthy. Maybe give him a day off every week. And, you love to give guys days off. Give him some days off. Let him hit 30-plus home runs again. The average will go up because the shift is going away. He was one of the most affected because he pulls the ball so much, but he still hits the ball hard. So I think next year he's probably going to hit, 250, 260 at minimum with another 30 home runs. And, if the back problems persist, I think the defense is going to continue to decline, but it seemed like the epidural worked. So, hopefully more solid defense.
Yeah.
What you got?
I think this is going to depend on if they do, in fact, as of recording, I don't think it's official, attach a qualifying. It's expected that they'll attach the $19.6
It's
million.
official. It's done. It happened.
Is it official? It's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got the qualifying offer, which is going to rule out a lot of teams. The teams that I think still remain in play for him will be those teams that have the smallest penalty, one draft pick, and I don't think any revenue off of the international. So we're and teams that are trying to win. We're looking at Orioles, Guardians. We know the Rockies are just willing to spend money, right? If Nimmo signs quick back with the Mets, then maybe the Rockies are thinking, well, let's figure out a Crone Rizzo thing. I don't know how we do it, but we do it thing. You've got the Twins and the Mariners that could go. I don't see the Mariners doing it, but the Twins kind of interest me. Again, as a team that is, I don't think the Twins are going to give up on their hopes of winning that Central and making a run. So to me, it's between the Twins and Yankees. And I'm honestly making the decision on the spot right now. And I'm going to go. I think he ends up getting an extra year from the Twins because the Twins are not going to have to, be in a marketplace when they're competing with the Mets or the Phillies or the Padres or the Red Sox, because it'll cost those teams so much more to get Anthony Rizzo in terms of a compensation, in terms of the penalty. So I think the Twins could maybe get him. Maybe they're talking the same AAV as the Yankees, but they're willing to give him an extra year, and that could be the deciding factor between Twins and Yankees. So I'll go out on a limb and I'll say the Twins.
You make some good points about the levels of penalty in terms of who to get. So those make a lot more sense. So I have him coming back to the Yankees as well. I think you might get an offer for 3 years, either from the Cubs or the Twins or somebody like that. But I think at the end of the day, the Yankees will probably give him a 2-year deal with an option for a third, and maybe a $20 million salary per.
Remember the Twins did that Donaldson deal, so they're not afraid to give an old player a lot of money for maybe too many years.
That's a good point too. That's a good point. And honestly, if that's the case, then let him go there.
Right.
Compensation pick, and then bring in somebody like Josh Bell, who was also traded at the deadline, not have a qualifying offer attached.
Yes, all day. Josh Bell or Jose Abreu. Josh Bell, even better.
Yeah. I mean, so if you don't have a QO attached to you, it's just going to cost money. So, and at the end of the day, if they don't do that, then they have DJ. They can just move to first. So they have options one way or another. So being smart about it. So hopefully they'll be smart about it. Now, we already know what happened to Edwin Diaz. He signed a 5-year, $102 million deal with the Mets, a historic contract, the first $100 million closer. So let's pivot over to our final two guys, Mr. Jacob deGrom. Hector, what you got?
Well, before I give it for Jacob deGrom, shout out to my guy Yudo, who's in the chat right now. But yes, I do have a back problem. I was diagnosed with spinal stenosis after I got injured on the job last year. So I've had 4 epidural shots this past year, Derek. So yeah, the epidurals, they work, but sometimes they come back barking. So I think, like you said, the perfect combination, splitting time with DJ and Rizzo, I think that would be the perfect option for both those aging veterans. But when it comes to deGrom, a lot of Yankee fans want deGrom to come to the Yankees. I don't see that happening. Hal Steinbrenner and Uncle Steve Cohen, they have like a silent agreement with each other. Hal was probably one of the first owners to come out and back Steve Cohen when he was trying to buy the Mets. So I think they have mutual respect for each other. As long as Hal doesn't go after Jacob, I think Stevie Cohen's not going to go after Judge. So I can see Jacob deGrom either going back to the Mets, but I'm leaning more towards Atlanta because that was the hot rumor this entire season.
Are you there?
Yeah, I think he's going back to the Mets, but I also kind of have my eye on San Diego. They got a lot of work to do to catch the Dodgers, like we said, and maybe one more pitcher, they can do some damage in the playoffs. But I at the end of the day, if you had to make me bet on it, I would say he's probably going back to the Mets just because of the money thing. I don't think anybody can pay as much as Cohen. But again, something to watch. He's going to be 35 years old. He's had arm troubles the last few years. I'd be careful giving that guy $40+ million.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's either the Rangers or the Mets. I think that's it. I think about some of the teams that he could fit on with that have a ton of money to spend, like the Yankees and the Dodgers, and the Red Sox have a lot of money this offseason too. Now that Xander Bogarts is opted out, they've got some of that Xander Bogarts money. But there's a lot of teams with money spent, but these are also teams that have really made an effort to build up their farm system over the last handful of years, like the Dodgers and the Yankees. Are those teams willing to give up those 2 picks with the competitive balance? They were the competitive balance taxpayers, so they have the 2 picks that they lose if they sign a qualifying offer player, which deGrom will be. So I think that you end up in a spot where those teams kind of bail out on it, and it ends up being the Mets bringing it back, obviously not having any penalty for that, or a team that isn't going to have to pay as stiff a penalty. Now the Rangers, they did not receive revenue sharing, but they were also not a competitive balance taxpayer. So they're kind of in the middle. So the Rangers only have, I think, 1 pick that they give up. So that's why I think it comes between Rangers and Mets. And the Rangers have said how aggressive they're going to be. But in the end, yeah, it's going to be the Mets. They're going to end up, think about how much money they will have spent between Jacob deGrom and Edwin Diaz by the time this thing is over for the 2023 season. It's amazing. But as we've talked about, Uncle Steve could do it.
He can. And I think if there's any team that could compete with Uncle Steve, would be the Texas Rangers at this point. Yep. They've gone, the guys that they brought in last year, they showed, okay, we're serious, but this is going to take a couple of years. And if they're going to add to these guys, you're going to have to add somebody like Jacob deGrom to add to Seager and Simeon and the rest of them. And I do think that they'll give him probably next year a little bit higher money. And again, that money's going to go a hell of a lot further in Texas than it's going to be in New York. So it's more money in deGrom's pocket and everybody else. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to make a difference. And if anybody, this is going to be my surprise outbid of the season. I think Cohen's going to get outbid for deGrom, and he's going to go to Texas. But I think he's going to outbid everybody else for everybody else.
Something to mention about deGrom going to Texas. As you get older as a pitcher, you want to pitch less in cold weather because it's tougher on the elbow, tougher on the shoulder, joints,
that's a great
whatnot.
point.
And pitching in a dome and in the South, you can get loose quicker. For somebody who's had arm trouble, Texas could be a really good fit.
No, you know what he does? This is what he does. He gets injured in the spring, and then he can't pitch until late May, and then he gets injured again in early September, and he's good to go. There you go. That's how you do it. If you time your injuries better, Jacob. Time the injuries better.
Exactly. The crowd in Texas is not as ruthless as it is in New York. You must be able to cow shit out there or something. I don't know what it is, but I just think Texas is going to be the fit. Now, the elephant in the room, Aaron Judge, our guy. Where is he going?
Oh, God, this is tough, man. I want him back with the Yankees, 8 years, $320 million. Sign me up. I'll take that. But everybody's leaning towards San Francisco. I was having this conversation with Scott Braun on the channel. He was leaning towards San Francisco. Randy Miller had a conversation with a good friend of mine. Derek got the glasses on, so he about to drop something hot after me. But Randy Miller was having a conversation with Julian, who works with Nathan. Nathan Jason. And, he said that game 4, after the Yankees got swept in the ALCS, Aaron Judge waited till about 1:30 in the morning to come out, and he spoke to every reporter and thanked them individually. And he told them, listen, I'll see you guys down the line. He didn't say I'll see you guys in spring training. He didn't say I'll see you guys later on. He said I'll see you guys down the line. So that's not a good sign for me. So San Francisco or New York for me, I just can't choose which one.
He's coming back to the Yankees, folks. Look, there's times when you make a baseball decision, and there's times where you make a business decision. And to lose Aaron Judge would be an horrendous business decision for a team that is very conscious of the brand, right? Letting Cano walk is not the same thing as letting Aaron Judge walk after he hit 62 home runs. If the Yankees want to compete for the next several years of this massive Garrett Cole contract, this massive Giancarlo Stanton contract, they've got to start by re-signing Aaron Judge. And they've got a lot of money coming off the books, as you mentioned, Jason. So they've got the opportunity to be creative. They've got some young assets that they could trade if they need to. They've got some young rookies that can fill in and give you a cheap infield if you have to spend big on the outfield. Brian Cashman said an hour ago that Anthony Volpe might be the starting shortstop for the Yankees next year. He's going to be in the mix. For him to come out and say that tells me that they think he's going to be part of the mix. We all saw what Peraza can do defensively. We'll see if he can hit. He looked pretty good to me. Cabrera's part of the youth movement. You've got some young talent. Trevino cost nothing. All-star Gold Glove catcher. That's why I think Contreras is off the table. You're going to sign Aaron Judge. If it takes an extra year, that's the cost of doing business. They did that with Masahiro Tanaka. They just give everybody an extra year. DJ LeMahieu went an extra year. They'll extend it as far into the future as they have to and eat the back end as cost of doing business and just budget it in as, hey, the value of the dollar's going down. We'll make up for it in the future with ticket sales and merch sales and marketing, making him our captain. That's what's going to happen with Aaron Judge.
That'll be nice. What do you got, Ballcap?
So I just realized standing here with my cup, I look like dude hanging out at a frat party standing in the corner. So I'm gonna put that down.
All he needs is a guitar.
Yeah, it just looks weird. So I'm going to go Yankees. I think you have to make this happen. I think that the Dodgers are going to be aggressive. I think the Giants are going to not be underbid. All of that. But in the end, he's out there saying he wants to remain in pinstripes. This Yankee team will continually do whatever it takes to win, and they'll make the trades, and they'll make big signings, and they'll do what they need to do. So, and Aaron Judge knows that. So I think at the end of the day, I think he's back with the New York Yankees. Even if the Giants throw more money his way, I think he still goes back to New York.
I think the Yankees are going to give him about 8 years, 320, or 9 years, 360. But I also think there's going to be one or two situations where there's going to be a stupid overpay for somebody this offseason. And there's a team that neither one of us have mentioned that has a dynamic duo on pitching, and they're one of two pieces of that dynamic duo of hitting. That's the Seattle Mariners. To pair him with Julio Rodriguez on the offensive side, and these guys have been bold lately. Now they've got Luis Castillo and Robbie Ray on the pitching side. I think they're going to only continue to. These guys are a well-financed machine, and they're going to keep going. I think they're going to go between 360 and 400 million for Judge, just to pair him with Julio Rodriguez. I know it's a thumbs down. That's my stupid overpay. I would like to come up with the Yankees, but I got to pick the Seattle Mariners.
Just ask Robinson Cano how that worked out. How many titles did Robinson Cano get in Seattle?
Yeah, he's a jabroni. I mean, you have to juice him. Judge to me is as good as it gets. He's as clean as it gets. He's a class guy, and I don't think he would do that. But I mean, I think you're in a better position to spend and keep complimenting guys like this with other players. I think they're going to keep doing it for the next couple of years.
To the
I want him back, man.
To the comment about Cano going to Seattle, that is almost because that happened. Judge, Judge knows, okay, this is what happens if you do that, right? Even if you go get the money, this is what happens if you do that. And after they give me that much money, how much money do they have to throw at the bullpen? How much money do they have to upgrade in other areas of the team? It's sort of a joke, but at the same time, it's real. Like Judge and everybody just saw what happens when you leave the Yankees and you go to anywhere. It didn't work out. So that is, I think maybe meant as a joke, but also it's very true. Very true.
The Yankees can afford to pay maximum market value, right?
Definitely
if
can.
Someone wants to overpay that, it's a bad baseball decision. And because they don't have the revenue coming in that the Yankees have, it's really tough to make up for it.
Listen, back in 2009, the last time the Yankees won a World Series, the team was valued at $1.9 billion by Forbes. Right now, the team is valued at $6.6 billion. They're literally three times more richer than they were in 2009. There should be no reason why the Yankees don't open up their wallets and spend for a guy that needs to be on this team this offseason.
100%.
Couldn't agree more. I just think that when it comes to Judge, makes in his comments, the money's going to talk, and he's going to go for the biggest paycheck no matter where it is, period.
Yep.
And it's his right to do. He's a free agent. He's coming off a historic year, and it's his absolute right to cash in. I think he's going to cash in.
I wouldn't count on finding out for a while. It's going to take a while.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's Thursday. Thursday's the last day of exclusive negotiations, right?
Yeah, the 10th. Yeah. The 10th is when free agency begins. But he's not. I wouldn't expect him to sign until probably the end of the winter meetings.
Yeah, and I think that's too long for the Yankees. They have way too many holes to fill. Way
Yeah,
too.
a good business move. This is how they could pay for Aaron Judge's contract. If you're not going to go with Benintendi, go get Yoshida from Japan. That TV deal alone is going to be 60 to 80 million. That right there will pay for Judge and Yoshida at the same time.
He doesn't strike out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
He's essentially Stephen Kwan, but he plays left field.
Yeah.
It's a little bit
A little
more
bit
pop.
older, though. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Does he play any other outfield positions? Can he play right field? Do we know?
I just seen him profiled as a left fielder, and his defense, it's league average at best. It's nothing to write home about. He's not a Gold Glover out there, but if you could put him in left field with Bader in center and Judge and right, I think that's a perfect combination to make up for whatever flaws he has out there.
It's good outfield no matter what. Good outfield no matter what. Guys, I can't thank you enough for joining me, for joining us. Hope you all enjoyed it, giving us your predictions. You guys rock. You guys are the best. I'm going to stay on for a couple minutes. Hector, you're welcome to stay on with me too if you like. But Jim, thank you so much. Eric, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good night, man. Peace, brothers.
Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
So anytime I want to, I can convo with you, JC. I'm going to take the opportunity to, brother.
I got my water, my special vitamins, dude. This emergency stuff. If you ever tried this, man.
Oh yeah. When I worked as an EMT, that right there was my lifeline.
Yeah,
working 12-hour shifts, that right there was what I needed.
Yeah, it's better than eating those pills that are like the size of footballs. I can't take those pills, man. Too big, man. The vitamin pills are like this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. My partner, she gave me one the other day, and it looked like a slug, like a 68 slug.
Can't do it, man. There's no powder. You just fizz it right in the water. Man, fantastic.
Yeah.
So anybody in the chat, we're going to stay on for a couple minutes. Anybody have any predictions, any names you want us to give you predictions for? Again, I thank those guys for coming on. Thank you for coming on too, bro. Appreciate it very much, man.
Of course. Gotta let people know this Thursday you'll be joining with me, right? 11 a.m. Yankees Morning Brew.
Yes, sir.
Copy, cool.
Around, hop on. We're going to do some Yankee talk, some baseball talk. It's a fantastic time. Please support the Actors Channel as well. Knights of DJ and the Yankees Morning Brew's top podcast out there, man. So, and again, shout out to RC and shout out to Texas Buckeye for the generous donations too, man. I appreciate you both. Anybody have Christian Vasquez? Oh, I have him going back to Boston, Tyler.
Yeah. I can see. I would love Vasquez as like a good backup behind Trevino, but I think the Yankees are gonna, they're relying on Ben Vroidberg or however you pronounce his last name. But I think the Yankees are heavily going to rely on him. So if he doesn't make it out of spring training, I can see him doing a move the same way how they got Jose Trevino, trading for a backup catcher. I would love Christian Vasquez.
I mentioned him too in my life and my blueprint because I think he's got these leadership qualities, and so many people don't trust the leadership of Cashman and some of these other guys. And boom, so guys like that with leadership intangibles will be perfect fits for this team. And he comes from a winning pedigree in Boston and Houston. So I know Houston wants him back, but he'd be a good guy too. Who else we got? Benintendi. So I wanted him to the Yankees. I had him predicted to the Dodgers. What about you, Hector? Benintendi.
It's a toss-up because at first I wanted Benintendi back. You guys heard me when I talked about Benintendi on the prediction, but I'm really interested in this Yoshida guy, and I'm very interested in him. He has a very low strikeout rate. Him and the guy that plays for the Cubs, I forgot his name, Suzuki. That guy, they were both in the same league, right? And when you look at their stats, pair them next to each other, Yoshida struck out 30% less or 40% less than he did. And Shea, he probably, he had 260, 270 this season. I think Yoshida would be a star in Yankee Stadium. That left field porch, I think his swing works perfect.
Oh, no doubt. That video's coming, Braden. That video's coming, brother. It's coming. Predicting some trades. We're working on that too. I agree too. And again, with Judge predicted to walk in my kind of angle, I have getting Yoshida and Benintendi filling up two corner spots in the outfield with Bader in center. You have a dynamic, speedy, defensively gifted outfield right there. And again,
I'll take that too.
Yoshida left-handed side, Benintendi left-handed side, two lefty hitters because the Yankees are mostly right-handed. So they have one switch hitter with Hicks, but he'll probably be moved, and Donaldson. So this to me is a good. And again, like the Yankees have so many holes. Judge back isn't enough. Rizzo back isn't enough. They have tons of holes after that too. So that's why. And Benintendi and Yoshida, neither one of them have a qualifying offers. They have to give up nothing for either one of them. Nothing.
Yep. So, and like I said, when it comes to Yoshida, that TV deal alone, like I said, is going to be at minimum 60 to 100 million. That right there alone will easily pay for his contract, whatever taxes, if you go over the tax threshold. Why do you think the LA Angels spend so much money? Because that Shohei Ohtani TV deal. That Shohei Ohtani TV deal allows them to spend that money on Rendon, who didn't work out. It allowed them to eat a lot of those years of Albert Pujols towards the end, the last 2 years of his contract. So that right there is, when you look at those players, whether it's Shohei Ohtani or it's Yoshida, God, I keep butchering his name. Yoshida, when you look at both those players, that TV deal contract is a big part of it as well.
Yep, 100%, man. What else we got here? Manaea and Clevenger, they're both free agents. I actually have Sean Manaea. I have my free agents list here. I'm also going to do another video on the full scope, the full list. Need today or something like that?
You could, yeah. If you need me, I can jump on with you as well, bro.
Yeah, man, we could do that one. That would be fun, man. Yeah, because the list is much bigger. It's a shitload of free agents. Sean Manaea. I'm going to the
and a big. I'm sorry to cut you off. And a big part about it too, like Mr. Coco just put in the chat when he brought up Matsui. A big reason why the Matsui and Suzuki, it worked out for both teams, because Suzuki was on the West Coast. So Yankee games were played 4 hours or 3 hours before Mariner games were played. So it didn't interfere with those TV deals. That's why if Yoshida comes to the US, he's not going to go to a West Coast team, because that would interfere with the scheduling and the time rise over there. So he's definitely going to come to the East Coast team.
I couldn't agree more, man. He's a perfect fit for the Yankees. He really is. Mike Clevenger, I have him going Tampa Bay.
Clevenger, I could say Tampa Bay as well, especially coming off of an injury. Tampa Bay has the history of giving out 1 year, 2 year deals to guys who are coming off of injuries, trying to work their way back. I can see him going either to Tampa or to Texas.
Yep, I could see that too. Sox getting him Brave. I could see that. I could see the Padres getting him, because Will Myers is a free agent, and then Hosmer's no longer there, so they need a first baseman, and Josh Bell's a free agent too, and I don't think he's going back. So I could see Abreu going to San Diego.
I would love Abreu with the Yankees, but the Yankees, their issue is they're right-handed heavy, and they have been right-handed heavy for several years. So if he was a lefty, perfect, sign me up. But like you said, I can see him going someplace else. Abreu, he's a professional hitter. He's been a professional hitter ever since he came over here. He's from Cuba. So yeah, whatever team picks him up, that'd be a solid pick for them.
Yeah, Evaldi, Houston Astros.
Yeah, I can see Evaldi going there.
Houston Astros. Jansen, let's see. Jansen, I have him coming back to the Rangers. JD. Let me pull up my I got JD going to the Mets.
The Mets, they need another bat behind the polar bear, behind Pete Alonso. They desperately need a big time bat behind Pete Alonso in that lineup.
Yeah, it's true. Chris Bassett, Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I would say either the Blue Jays or don't be surprised, the Baltimore Orioles. They may spend some money. And Chris Bassett is that perfect veteran that he's not a number one, he's not a number two. He slides in perfectly as a number three in any other rotation. But with the Orioles, he will be that number one pitcher that will be the veteran leader for that young pitching staff.
Yep, couldn't agree more. What else we got here? What's good, Brett? What's good? Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard.
Syndergaard, Phillies. I can see him going back to Philadelphia.
I see him going to Seattle, just adding to that pitching stable in a number 3 or number 4, adding some depth. We didn't get to do this with the other guys because they had to go, but I wanted to do this. If you could think of one big player that will be traded this offseason, who do you think it will be, and where do you think
traded?
Wanted to add this to the gang here, so you guys.
The guy from Atlanta, his name's escaping me right now. He was a center fielder. He got injured. He missed last year.
Acuna?
What happened? Acuna, yeah, Ronald Acuna. They already have a replacement in center field. He's on the backside of that contract extension they gave him. I could see them trading Acuna just to recuperate prospects.
Well, where do you think he would go?
I could see either Seattle or St. Louis, because St. Louis St. Louis has a boatload of prospects. They have a boatload of money to spend. Like I said earlier, St. Louis has $147 million in projected payroll for next year. So they definitely have both the prospects and money to spend.
It's very true. It's a good point. Announce Judge to the Giants. If they sign him, believe me, it'll be announced immediately. So
Yeah.
he's one of the definitely one of the top guys that I think you'll
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I want Judge to come back to the Yankees. You know, I would just regurgitating what that Randy Miller said, and it's something to think about. You know, you got to think about it. If he told the reporters that at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30 in the morning, what's the reporters going to do? They're going to take a story and they're going to run with it. So you can take it for what it's worth. I believe that Aaron Judge, he's a loyal guy, and I think that his loyalty to the Yankees is there. I think he was a little bit hurt when it came out about the contract negotiations early on during spring training, but I want him back with the Yankees, bro.
Yeah, I mean, most of us do. So,
can you just imagine, Jason, how sad and pathetic it would be them taking out the judges' chambers from Yankee Stadium?
It'd be crazy. Be crazy, man.
Bro.
Iconic. It's iconic there right now.
Yeah.
It would suck. It would really suck.
And you think what the history of the Yankees, they never did that with any of their players. They never did any type of marketing when it comes to their players in the state. No Big Mac Land, none of that. They didn't do any of that with any of their players. They did that with Aaron Judge rookie season.
Yep. He's been going on with that for 5 years now, man. 6 years. Yeah. Guess who I have going?
Who you got, brother?
Shohei Ohtani going to the Blue Jays.
Ooh, that's gonna be a haul. Who the Blue Jays gonna give up?
Oh, they're gonna have probably Kevin Biggio.
Bichette got to go in that deal.
He might have to go. I mean, there's gonna be quite a few big pieces. They need pitching. They need some hitting. So I could see him going over there and just kind of lighten that place up, man. You know,
if the Mets had the prospects, I could see him going to Queens if they had the prospects. But outside of Alvarez and Beatty, who they called up at the end of the season, their minor league system is just barren. It's a wasteland. It's like the Yankees minor league season, a minor league back in the 2000s, early 2000s, when we was hardly producing anything. So if the Mets had the prospects, I could see him going to Queens. But Toronto, they need to make a move. They need both a hitter and a pitcher.
Speaking of minor leagues, today Baseball America announced Anthony Volpe is the #1 prospect in baseball heading into the 2023 season. Volpe, one. Yankees prospect. I don't remember the last time we had a #1.
Nah, not in all of baseball.
Andrew, can I check if anyone's signed yet? Nobody's re-signed their existing players yet, Andrew. I mean, I could check right now, but
the only person we got, Edwin Diaz, that was the only thing that was like announced when it comes to big time players out there. Besides that, I haven't heard anything.
All right, so the Mariners are not extending a qualifying offer to Mitch Haniger. Okay, so he's a free agent. They're not getting a QO. Dusty Baker's coming back. Colton Wong's option has been exercised. Teams can't sign other players yet until Thursday, starting at 5 p.m. So that's pretty much all that's happened right now, Andrew. Jorge Soler is opting in. The Rams. Yeah, that's pretty much it right now. That's pretty much all we got.
The Brewers, they picked up the $10 million option on Colton Wong for 2023. The Mets, they exercised Vogelback's contract, $1.5 million option for 2023. Besides that,
deGrom and Taiwan Walker out. They opted out. They're free. Kodai Senga, is that pitcher, right? I don't know. I'm not sure if he's gonna get posted or not.
No, he's gonna get posted. He's getting posted. He's definitely getting posted.
And I could see him going to a West Coast team like the Mariners or the Angels, something like that.
He's not that sexy superstar to come out of Japan, so there's not that much hype around him like there is for Yoshida. But yeah, a West Coast team definitely, or whichever team trades for Ohtani.
Yep, so true. But I couldn't agree with you more. Yankees need to steal Montero from Houston. Yes, I've been saying it for a bit now. You take him away from Houston, and again, I don't know if he's going to get a qualifying offer or not, but he probably wouldn't. But because I don't think they'll pay him $19, which would make it easier for the Yankees again. But he'll cost half the price of Edwin Diaz. Half the price.
Yeah.
So he's a guy. They need 1 or 2 bullpen guys. They do. So, here we go. We got an extra here. The Yankees trade for Ohtani to trade Geraldo, Bichette, Biggio, Moran. It's probably what it's going to cost.
And a bit more, yeah.
I mean, he's going to cost a boatload. They would have to give up. Yankees would have to give up Volpe. I mean, they made a ridiculous offer, and it was turned down by the Angels. So they made a big-time offer for Ohtani. And it included Volpe, it included Dominguez, it included Peraza, and still wasn't enough.
With the Yankees front office, mostly Brian Cashman coming out and saying that Volpe will be in contention for the shortstop job in spring training. How do you see that working out? What moves are going to happen before then? Like, obviously, IKF is probably going to be gone either to third base. Josh Donaldson is going to be cut. They say that the Yankees are trying to heavily move Hicks and Donaldson. What do you think? What do you think happens? What's your scenario for that?
You think they move Hicks and Donaldson? I think they move IKF to third. IKF only has 1 year left of arbitration, so he'll be gone after 2023 anyway. I don't see him going back, and that which opens up shortstop there. But I don't know. To me, he's a more natural fit at second base, Volpe, because his body type and the way he moves. I would like to see Peraza. He's more fluid shortstop. I'd like to see Volpe at second, and DJ be the utility guy. Okay, and then Cabrera rotating outfielder.
I can see Volpe and Peraza being like 2018 rookie Gleyber Torres and rookie Miguel Andujar, have that type of impact and just energy to the team. When it comes to IKF at third base, I think that's a perfect scenario for IKF and Oswald Cabrera to platoon that spot at third base. And then you can have DJ play third base from time and time again. So I think the Yankees are in a good position because they got guys that play multiple positions, right? Peraza could play shortstop and second. Cabrera, you could basically put him all over the infield. It seems like he's going to be able to play.
It's true. And like IKF laughing here, keep in mind, if they bring back Judge, they will probably more than likely use the excuse, we paid Judge about a lot of money. We're not going to be able to spend a lot of other places. We're going to need somebody cheap in other areas. IKF is cheap. He's also a third. He won a Gold Glove at third base in 2020. He's a better third baseman than most players are. So his stats aren't sexy in terms of offensive. But if they bring in a big bat or a couple of big guys elsewhere, they won't really need him to be sexy, flashy in terms like that. So, but he did win a Gold Glove at third. He's an elite defensive player. He's playing out of position this year at shortstop. It was clearly not an actual shortstop. So. You move him to third, you put Peraza at second, you put Volpe third. I mean, second, like, you have a pretty young dynamic lineup here. You do.
Yeah. And when it comes to IKF, you and I, we talked about it. It's not IKF's fault. IKF didn't go out there and make the trade. IKF is not the one putting him in the lineup. IKF, he's asked to do a job and he's doing it the best he can. Obviously, he sucks. And if we were all able to like give him a bad review on Yelp, I think we will all give him a bad review on Yelp.
It's true. And yeah, he made 15 errors this year, which is a lot for a shortstop. But he also had 19, defensive run save. And, the errors get amplified in New York more than defensive run saves. They just do. Okay, the stuff where the mistakes you make here get magnified 10 times more than your good plays. So why there's so much hate towards freaking, IKF. But again, he's second in all of baseball in terms of contact hitting rate. And he's second on the Yankees in terms of runners in scoring position. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't necessarily mean getting hits and all that stuff. It means moving the ball over, moving the guys over, to be sack flying, bunting, and things like that. So he's contributed more to Yankees leads and wins than most people think he has. But his defensive lapses got amplified by a ton. Tyler, appreciate you, brother. Bold prediction. I see the Yankees getting Ohtani if he's traded. Yankees always love it. Asian players made an offer that. And they did, Tyler. Yeah, I mean, you have to be ready to fork up the war chest for him.
Oh, it's going to cost the entire minor league top 5, top 10.
Easily
for Ohtani.
And is it worth it for 1 year of Ohtani? Especially, what if he doesn't re-sign next year? That's a risky price. You're going to have to agree to an extension as part of this deal. It's the only way I can see it happen. This is not like 3 years of Juan Soto. This is 1 year of Ohtani. It's different. Yeah, it's different. So, where do you guys get the info news from? Lots of different sources. Andrew, lots of different sources. But we confirm by multiple areas first before you.
I have some friends that work for the Patriots, the Yankees minor league team. Jason knows a few of them. So yeah, we look at the sources. You got to actually do your digging. And like I said, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because at the end of the day, these reporters are just trying to put an article out there to get clickbait, or try to get clicks on articles and try to get clicks on their site. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to be able to go through the news that's out there and see what's real. And report it as you report it, and if it's not real, it's not real.
Exactly. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is.
It's like the weatherman reporting the weather every day. He doesn't get it right.
That's right, man. That's right, baby.
Yeah.
But on that note, let's wrap this up. I want to thank you for coming on. I got to go take care of you, brother. This was phenomenal, man. I hope you all appreciate it. Hope you all enjoyed it. Share with your friends. Let us know. And be on the lookout for a lot more stuff. And if you're around Thursday at 11 a.m., be sure to watch Hector and I. We're going to be talking more baseball. So,
yes, sir.
Over and out.
Oh, we still a little bit live. We still